So teach us to number our days that we may get a heart of wisdom. By the time you hit the end of the week, time feels a little different. Some parts felt slow, some parts flew by. And if you're not paying attention, it all kind of blurs together. And this verse cuts through that blur. Teach us to number our days. That doesn't mean obsessing over time or counting every hour like a clock you can't escape. It means becoming aware of it, recognizing that your days are not endless. They're not something you can just spend without thinking. They matter, each one, and that awareness is meant to lead somewhere, that we may get a heart of wisdom. Because when you realize your time is limited, you start to see things differently. What you give your attention to matters more. What you hold on to starts to shift. What you chase after gets a little more honest. You ever been on a ride where you know you only have so much daylight left? You don't waste as much time stopping for things that don't matter. You're more aware of your pace. You're thinking about where you're headed, not just wandering without direction. Not in a stressed way, just in a focused way. That's the kind of perspective this verse is inviting. Not pressure, clarity. Because a lot of the time, we live like we've got unlimited tomorrows. I'll deal with that later. I'll get serious about that eventually. I'll make that right another time. And another time quietly keeps moving. Until one day you realize you spent a lot of days without really being present in them. But when you start to number your days, something shifts. You don't have to cram everything in. You just start living more intentionally. You notice moments you would have rushed past. You invest in things that actually matter. And you stop putting off what you already know you should step into. That's where wisdom starts to grow. Not just knowing more, but living differently because you see clearly. So as this lands at the end of the week, it's a chance to pause for a second, to look back over the days you just lived, not to critique yourself or overanalyze everything, just to notice, where was your time spent? What actually mattered? What didn't? And then carry that awareness forward. Teach us to number our days. Because when you start to see your time for what it really is, you don't panic. You just ride a little more intentionally, a little more present, a little more aware that every day you're given is something you don't get back, but something you can actually use well. Amen? Thank you for joining me here today, my friends and family, and anyone else that might be listening. I know your time is valuable. It's one of the few things we can never get back. So I appreciate you spending a little bit here with us today, diving into our Bibles. Well, we've made it. We've made it to the end of another work week. And with that, I'd like to wish everyone a Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.